the family home, traditionally a place of refuge at the end of a long working day. But when the home of your dreams turns into a house of horrors, when spirits move in and try to move you out, it's time then to call on medium Johnny Fiore and specialist house cleanser Ian Lawman, the team from Living with the Dead.
It used to be a local courthouse. 23 people were apparently hung outside.
You make excuses because you don't believe.
Okay.
I want to get out.
I ask if you just step forward.
All right, it's all right. It's okay.
Burnham in Buckinghamshire. A typical quaint English village where life goes on today much as it ever has. It's every publican's dream to own a pub in the country. And 2 years ago, Mick and Julie Orme started to live that very dream.
We moved in here 2 years ago because we liked it, we liked the area, it's nice and peaceful, and it was a bit of a shell when we moved in, but we knew that we could possibly do something with it. We moved in above the pub about a month later because it has 4 bedrooms up there. It's nice and big. Everything was comfortable. We'd had all our own furniture put in and new carpets, and then things started happening.
And it was the very first night they moved in, they noticed that all was not what it seemed.
Often we'd go to bed in the evening, and Julie likes the tables and chairs set in a particular way, making sure the chairs match for the following day. A few times a week, there's always noises during the night of the chairs being dragged.
And I'd come down the next morning, and 3 or 4, 5 or 6 chairs will all have been moved to different tables.
Even a chair missing, and they will suddenly, unexplainably return 2 or 3 days later.
That happened maybe 3 or 4 times every week.
Chairs and tables that seemed to move themselves around, something which, when they checked with the previous owner, they found had happened to them too. And then there were the incidents that happened late in the evenings.
In the office, directly under the flat, I often get a knock on the door behind me. If there was anyone there, I would be able to see them out the office window as they'd come or go from the office. Never anybody.
These events were starting to make Mick and Julie feel uneasy, but then there were more frightening happenings in the kitchen as well. Objects appearing to fly in their direction, and other incidents for which they could find no explanation. They wanted to believe it was nothing, but there were so many unexplained events that they were starting to wonder.
You make excuses for what you're actually seeing and you put it to one side until these experiences become more. And then you start to think, maybe there is something going on here.
And then one night when Mick was locking up, something happened that really scared him.
Locked the 2 front doors, then went through to where the lighting switches are and turned them all off. And as I stepped out into complete darkness, I heard, "Where are you going now?" Like an old woman's, almost witch-like voice. I just froze, then stepped back in. It wasn't Julie. I knew that she was in the car, waiting for me outside. That terrified me.
Events that were making Mick and Julie feel that someone or something was trying to drive them away. It was time to face the fact that all was not well in Burnham.
Did you turn the lights off in the pub?
Yeah, I definitely turned them off.
I get a feeling that somebody's fighting for their life in here. Oh my God.
Okay.
I want to get out.
2 years ago, Mick and Julie Orme moved into a flat above their new pub in Burnham, Buckinghamshire. Almost immediately, they began to feel the place was haunted. It's a situation that's now starting to affect their family life.
Our children aren't keen to come back and live here because of all what's gone on. Daniel, my son, puts a brave face on it, but he's not keen to stay with our granddaughter. Hopefully when they get this sorted, they will do.
And now even the customers are noticing things, like sounds of ghostly visitors in the pub itself.
You could hear the footsteps behind you, turn around to actually see somebody, but there was no one there. But it was actually, you could more or less see the footsteps going across the floor, basically.
The building which houses the pub and the flat is over 200 years old and was variously used throughout the years as a village meeting place, hotel, and from 1776 as a local courthouse. And Mick feels this may have some specific connection to what's going on.
A few said that it used to be a local courthouse. A lot of the locals have said to me that there was a hanging tree outside and 23 people were apparently hung outside. It doesn't make you sleep any better.
And the local area is also one which has seen its fair share of ghostly activity.
Burnham Beeches has always had stories about there being hauntings. People have been in Burnham Beeches, particularly at night, and have had sort of strange occurrences. I think probably the most well-known is a lady that sort of roams in the beaches, and she's supposed to be roaming looking for her lost love. Obviously, there was some upset, and she still roams around looking for him.
Alongside Mick and Julie, bartender Lainey lives in the pub's other flat with her brother Mitch. She's also seen things going on.
Well, they told me when I first started working here it was haunted, and it was like little things like the doorbell and me going in the kitchen there and there's no one in there.
And then there was the incident of the man at the bar. One evening, Lainey was in the flat when she noticed on the security camera that someone had come into the pub and sat down. She was a bit surprised as she hadn't seen anyone come in and the pub was actually closed. So she went out to have a look. However, as she entered the bar, she could see there was no one actually there. Yet on the CCTV camera, it still showed there was a man sat down. A man on the screen who seemed to have no physical presence in the actual bar. To this day, she's got no explanation of how this happened, and no one has ever identified the mysterious man. And then one day, something happened which raised the stakes for everyone in a more serious way.
Most of the things have been in funny situations, really, I suppose, up until the fire.
It started one evening when Lainey's brother Mitch arrived home at the flat with his girlfriend.
Laura and I, we came in from a meal one night, so we thought we'd just have an early night and go to bed.
They soon dropped off to sleep, but as they lay there, events took a sinister turn. The heater, which was secured to the wall by the bed, came crashing to the floor and started smouldering.
You know, the radiator must have fallen off and made a bang. Carpet started to catch fire.
As fumes filled the room, the unsuspecting couple slept on, unaware.
Still didn't wake up when Lainey had been calling us for the past, few minutes.
I've just woke up to all this smoke in my room. As I'm walking through the hallway, I've checked the bathroom, the kitchen, and so I knew it was coming from my brother's room because there was more smoke as I was going. So I banged on the door, Mitchell, get up.
Really struggled to wake up. We had an early night, so it wouldn't be lack of sleep or anything. We just couldn't wake up. When we eventually did, woke up to Lainey banging on the door, screaming, "There's a fire, there's a fire." 20 minutes later, and Laura and I wouldn't be here.
I was going to stay at my friend's house. It's so lucky I went home. If I hadn't, it wouldn't be here today.
It actually looked like the radiator had been ripped out of the wall. It was bolted onto the wall. I don't think there's any way the radiator would have just fallen off.
The radiator could have been just an accident, but because of all the things that have happened as well,